Hello, my name is Lena. I'm a felt maker. I run Feltmaking online school, Felt with Lena, and I'm known also under Lena Archibald Textile Art and Design. And today I would like to talk about how to achieve beautiful felting layout. Quality of felt start with quality of layout, and quality of layout start with quality of materials. There are a few tips in this video related to wool. Let's start with wool. I mainly work with merino wool 18.5, 19, 21, 22, 23 microns. This is 18.5, 19, and this is 21 micron wool. When I'm talking about 18.5, 19, it's literally the same wool, but it all depends where you buy from. That's why I mentioned two figures. Some suppliers say extra fine merino wool 18.5 micron. Another supplier could say extra fine merino wool 19 micron. That's why you hear me using two numbers. Okay, it is the same wool. Right, my tip number one. When you buy wool, it's great, it's fresh, it's great if you use straight away. But how many of us keep buying wool? Oh, I'll get extra color. I get another color. And this wool can be stored for a year or longer. This wool can start to become matted or felted, depends how you store your wool. So my tip number one, never store your wool in plastic bags. Many of us receive wool coming in a plastic bag, perhaps like this. Okay, I remove wool from plastic bag and I just put on the shelf. You can store your wool in paper or in fabric bags. This way your wool can breathe and there is no moisture then in your bag, because especially if it's zipped, that's how wool become more matted. This is from my experience. This is tip number one. Tip number two, if that happen, that your wool become matted, this is quite matted. How do I know? Try to, separate your rowing, and you can see it's not easy. Can you see in comparison to this, how quickly that happening? So what can you do? Either use this wool for needle felting. I don't do much needle felting, but when I did, I hardly use merino wool, but I did use matted wool. So in this case, either needle felting or get a bag which you can zip. I would recommend bigger bag than this. It just happened I had this in my studio. Put your wool in the bag. Make sure enough space in this bag. This is actually not bad. Okay. Sprinkle like 4 times wool. Maybe you can do more slightly. Zip your bag. Okay. Put in microwave with a glass of water. So you just put in, for example, I have a glass. It is an empty glass, but you put in your wool in microwave, you fill your glass with water, and I put for 2-3 minutes on medium power. Okay. After that, remove. Your wool will be steaming hot. Remove from your bag, leave on the table to dry, and you will notice the bigger difference rather than using matted wool. Try to do layout using this wool. I would not recommend. Okay, this is now my tip number 2 about matted wool. My tip number 3. I don't know how you receive wool, but this is how my wool comes. Okay, something like this, or if I buy kilogram, it's a big bundle. So night before, when I prepare my materials, I usually like to prepare materials in advance of making project. I undo my bundle like that, do like that, little shake, little dance, and I leave on my table. Okay, just like that, ready for our project next morning. This is tip number 3. In tip, all in under tip number 1. Okay, but I rather talk about wool preparation before in one video, then we start more tips. So this was tip number 3. My tip number 4. When you start to do your layout, do a little bit of meditation with your wool. Every video, every online class I do, I always suggest do this little movement. Just let all fiber, not to be tangled, because usually your rowing before you start working squashed, and it just all this wool tangle. So this is what we're doing. We just hands apart and gently do this teasing and breathing your wool, and it's just fantastic way to start your layout. That's what tip number 4 I said. I don't count. This is very important. I do this all the time with every project. Look, your rowing becoming wider and flatter. But my tip number 5, try to hold your rowing like that and do layout. In this case, I separate my rowing in 2 or 3 in width like this. Okay? I put one away. I still do a little bit more teasing. Okay? Like that. And I'm ready to do my layout if my place is ready. And that's what we're talking in my next tip. Tip number, I'm sorry, my mannequin just fell down. Please ignore. This is a walk-in studio. Nobody heard. Right, apologies for this. Okay, you have 5 tips. I really hope you will follow. If you have your own tips, please share with us. Okay, thank you so much for your attention. My next tip will be released soon. Please watch my YouTube channel where it will be section February tips, 10 tips on how to achieve beautiful felting layout. I send these tips in my newsletter. You can subscribe to my newsletters via lenaarchibald.co.uk, and I will share as well on my Facebook page. Thank you so much for your attention. All the best. Goodbye.